and gentlemen, this is J.R. Moore coming to you live from deep in the mountains of the Missouri Ozarks. On Friday, the 8th day of November, year of our Lord 2019, welcome to the John Moore Show. We begin our shows with something that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would just as soon leave the room when this happens. In fact, she might. That would be the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Prep tip of the day, I encourage all of you to check your car kit. You got more than one vehicle. Each automobile truck should have its own car kit, customized for your needs, the region you live in. Obviously, if you're in Mississippi, it'll be different than if you're in Minnesota. But check that car kit, make sure everything's in there you need, that it's in good condition and ready to go. Typically, we have Tom Berryhill call in on Friday mornings. It looks like he has not yet called in. If he does, we'll be visiting with him and talking about emergency survival communications. Well, we had a J.R. Moore radio show meetup last night down in Benton Square in Rolla, Missouri. Had some new folks show up, regulars show up. It's always a good event. It's a social event. It's a networking event. It's an information exchange. And it's a lot of fun. We've been doing this now for, 4 or 5 years, something like that. Several different venues, but this venue's been a very pleasant one, and we get along good with the management and the staff, and it's a lot of fun. I found out recently that one of my neighbors is not really interested in radio communications. It doesn't surprise me. He's his own man, and he's just interested in what's going on in this neighborhood. That's unfortunate. I'm sure there's many people like him that don't care what's going on outside our neighborhood, outside our county. Probably a lot. And I respect that if that's the way they feel. It's not my job to change their mind. I do feel a responsibility to let them know that that's not wise, that knowing what's going on outside the county could literally be a matter of life and death, literally. And that's what we talk about on Fridays, is emergency survival communications. I was introduced to the concept of how important it is when I was 20 years old in Vietnam during the Tet Offensive. We were desperate for news of what was going on. The Army radio station kept broadcasting, thank goodness, so that it gave us some knowledge of what was going on around the rest of the country, even though it was censored, of course. Of course it was censored, because the enemy could listen to it also. But that human characteristic of wanting information is pretty ubiquitous. It really is. It's almost universal. And even my friend, my neighbor down here, even though he proclaims he's not interested now, I'd say there's a high likelihood that during a crisis he would be quite interested in knowing what's going on outside our little community of Davisville, Missouri, outside of Crawford County where we live. I'd say that's highly likely. I'd say it's also highly likely that all of you out there would find yourself in the same situation. So let's say there is a short-term, a 3 days or less crisis, or a long-term, where it would be 4 days, 4 weeks, 4 months. You're going to be wanting to know what's going on. You can count on it. Well, how would you do that? Well, the most efficient way are these modern hand crank radios. They can pick up AM broadcasts, FM broadcasts, shortwave, and the weather frequencies, the weather station frequencies. That's a lot. And they've gotten very compact, very efficient. In addition, these hand crank radios. They have a little solar panel. You can charge up your cell phone. They have a built-in flashlight, an alarm clock, and a regular clock. Pretty neat. And you can't spend $100 on these. The high-end ones now running around $80. We got a caller on holding. We got Jeff in Massachusetts. Good morning, Jeff.
Good morning, John. Two things on the agenda. First, communications. One of the places where I worked at, the power went out, and we had walkie-talkies on us, and we could not communicate on the walkie-talkies or the phone or anything. It was very eerie. So when you're talking about communications, you are spot on. And number two, because I ran out of time the last time I was on your program, I wanted to share this little addendum, which is the water plant where I worked at. Yes, I worked alone, but I had a person watching the cameras, and we would switch back and forth when I did my patrols. I'd watch the cameras, and he'd watch the cameras when I do my patrols. But when I was out there on the patrols, John, I was on my own.
That's right. That's what I expected. Okay, Jeff.
Yes.
Anything else?
No. I just figured I'd tell you the part about the communications part, because if you don't have any communications.
When your handy-talkies went down, that was because the base station went down?
I'm not sure what happened. I think it was some kind of generator or something, but nevertheless, we were nervous, to say the least.
Well, your handy-talkie stopped working, correct?
Yes, I mean.
Okay.
I think we had to use.
Here's why.
Yes.
I'll tell you why. Because you weren't talking unit to unit, radio to radio. Everything was going through a base station, and the base station was run on the regular power that went out. So that's why you guys couldn't talk to each other.
I think you're right, but that's above my pay grade. I just work as a regular security officer. But when you don't have communications, you do get kind of nervous. So I figured I'd chime in on that. And John, thank you for having me on, and do have a great weekend.
Oh, it's okay. Thank you, Jeff. We appreciate the call. The call number is 800-313-9443. When you're an outsider, when I say outsider, you're not part of the ham community, you do not have your ham license, it can appear to be pretty intimidating. As looking at it as an outsider, you may come to the conclusion that it's highly technical, difficult to learn, hard to learn, that you're not that kind of technical person. Well, my response is get over it. Get over it. We routinely have 8-year-old boys and girls studying for the ham license and getting their ham license. Now, if an 8-year-old child can do it, of course you can do it. Of course you can. It's just a matter of how bad do you want it. In general, I don't regard anybody serious about preparedness if they don't have a ham license. I don't. They may talk the talk and walk the walk, but if they don't have a ham radio license, in my opinion, they're not serious. They're just pretending. And there's no excuse. The money involved would buy you a meal at McDonald's for 2 people. We aren't talking any money here of any consequence. No, not at all. Now, you may have your objections. Say, "Oh, John, I'm serious. I've done this. I've done that." Well, I'm glad you did this and did that. This is my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion, just like you're entitled to yours. The preparedness group I work with, all the men and women have their ham radio license. Every one of them. Now that my wife, Dr. Moore, is deceased, she never studied for a ham license, and of course, we gave her a pass on that. That was her choice, which meant all the radios I had around here, I had to keep on a non-licensed frequency so she and I could talk back and forth when I'm out in the ranch doing different jobs. In fact, earlier this week, when I went to get that Triumph, my friend Dan was with me and his wife Patience, and I had 2 of my handy-talkies, and I kept them on a non-licensed frequency so we could talk back and forth as we were on this adventure, as I called it. And the radios were handy. They were a lot handier than cell phones, a lot handier. more volume and so forth. Once you get into the ham radio community, once you start studying for a license and actually get it, you'll find that you might be wondering, why did I wait so long? This wasn't such a big deal. Why did I wait so long? When people find out they can talk during the emergency on the ham frequencies without a license, then they say, "Oh, I'm not going to get a license. I'm not going to talk unless there's an emergency." Wrong, wrong, wrong. These are not simplistic devices like cell phones. They aren't. If you don't study for your license, if you don't become part of a ham radio club, the odds of you being able to successfully communicate with ham radio are dramatically diminished. When I say dramatically, I say good luck talking on these radios if you haven't had the training and you haven't got your license. When it's something that important, literally a matter of life and death, you're going to leave it to chance. That's what your plan is. You're going to leave it to chance. Oh, I don't need a ham radio license because I can talk without one during a crisis. Well, that might be the last mistake you ever make. I'm going to call her and hold her. We got Elizabeth in New York. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Good morning, John. You're absolutely right. You really have to learn and study and everything. Now, one thing that I did to learn a little bit more about the ham radio I got is, or even before I even got the one I got, I went to YouTube and I was watching a lot of stuff. I got a Striker ham radio. It was capable of having CB channels if you modified it, which I did, and now I got CB. It didn't come with it.
Right.
But I watched the video from some ham radio techs on how to do it. You're absolutely right. People have to be willing, have the desire to learn. Mine can be used mobile in a car. I got the 12-volt power supply. I made sure I picked out the antenna that matched my radio because it's a 10-meter. I looked into all of that.
All right.
And I'm hoping that when I have some free time, I can work on getting my license because this is something I need to do.
Well, you need to do that, Elizabeth. And, of course, CB is 11 meter. And so 11 meters and 10 meters are right next to each other. And many of these radios can be modified to operate on both frequencies.
Yeah, which I did. And I also have a portable mobile ham, which I've already programmed the repeaters into. No one ever told me, showed me. I'm just learning and doing. There are different forums out there too that people can take advantage of people that are willing to mentor you on how to do it. Like on Discord, they have a ham radio group. In fact, I was uploading a lot of stuff when I was on Discord a while back for people wanting to learn and get into it.
Well, good. Are you still active with that group?
On Discord?
Right.
I don't have a whole lot of free time right now, but I'm hoping to eventually get involved with the group, and maybe not necessarily that particular group, but I'd like to find one.
All right. Well, good luck on that, Elizabeth. Now, well, you just proved my point that people can study for these licenses. They can get their license, and it really wasn't a very big deal, was it?
No, not really. My uncle had a CB years ago, and we were kids. He used to let us talk on it. I was kind of familiar with some things from watching him and listening and whatnot.
Well, good. So, all right. Okay, anything else, Elizabeth?
Well, I just want to remind everybody that you're available for talks. John has a website called thelibertyman.net for anyone who's interested in having him come and speak in their community. I mean, I think it would be a great idea to approach the local or state government to have him come and talk so that a lot of the, emergency responders and stuff could be well informed of what they might be facing, so that when it does hit, they're not left short with being unprepared.
That would be smart.
Because there's a lot of things going on as far as earthquakes, volcanoes, and that. I mean, it's one thing to be prepared, like for a storm, like a winter storm, something that's short-lived, something that's not catastrophic. But what's going to be coming in the future is going to be beyond that. And if we don't start informing these officials in the government and in our communities, it's gonna be horrendous.
It will be, and that website for speaking engagements and booking me is thelibertyman.net, correct? Thelibertyman.net?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Real good. Well, thank you, Elizabeth.
You're welcome, John.
Okay.
Have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you. Call numbers 800-313-9443. We got a break coming up here in less than 2 minutes. I spend an hour of my life, every week, talking about emergency survival communications. I've got 10 hours a week to talk to you folks out there. And anything that takes an entire block of time, 1 hour, is something I obviously regard as important, something that needs to be talked about. And, of course, this is radio. We have new listeners every day. It's just the nature of radio. I refer to it as a classroom with a revolving door at the back, always new people coming in, older folks going out the door. And you need to wake up and smell the coffee. You really do. This is very important. We got a break. Call numbers 800-313-9443.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
Oh, welcome back. J.R. Moore here on Friday, the 8th of November. We're going on a cruise. I talked to our cruise director yesterday, Betsy Murphy. She says they still have some cabins that are available. Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines, Harmony of the Seas. So there's still some cabins available, and when they're gone, they're gone. We're going out to sea Sunday, the 9th day of February, return a week later on Saturday the 16th. I have a speaking engagement in Orlando the Saturday before we leave on Saturday the 8th day of February. We'll be making announcements on the venue and where to get tickets on that. So if you want to go on a cruise with us and have Valentine's Day on a beautiful luxury ship with your honey, well, you need to call Betsy Murphy. Make your reservation. Here's Betsy's telephone number twice, slowly, 636-530-9502. I say again, 636-530-9502. Leon Green, of course, will be with us. We don't have a commitment from Sam Andrews, but between Leon and I, there's not much we don't know about preparedness. Seriously. Between the two of us, there's not much we don't know about preparedness. We'll get into great detail during that cruise to every aspect of preparedness. So it'll be a lot of fun. Call number is 800-313-9443. We talk about emergency survival communications. I've been at this quite a while. I studied for my ham license in the fall of 1994. I had an executive protection detail I was involved with. I was on the road a lot in that capacity, and I kept my study guide handy whenever I had some downtime. 15 minutes here, half an hour there. I would pull out that study guide and study for my ham license, and I did pass my test the first time. In the meantime, these past 25 years, I've acquired a lot of radios, a lot of knowledge, done a lot of installs for mobile units, cars and trucks, base stations, and in homes. A lot of installs. Learned how to put together large, complex antennas, for example, and how to do minor repairs and maintenance on these radios. When I say minor, they're all the modern ones are all basically small computers is what they are. It's been good. Having the radios is something that's come in handy around the ranch here. I would be out working and my wife could call me on the radio and let me know that I had an important telephone call, or let me know it was time for lunch, or I could call her if there was an accident and she could get help on the way. Being in these woods alone with a chainsaw is, quite frankly, a very dangerous thing to be doing. It really is. And having a radio nearby with somebody to talk to if there was an accident is certainly some peace of mind. Once you get started on ham radio, you'll find it's not that hard. It's not that intimidating. It is for most people intimidating to do anything of this nature. You need to get past that. You really do. If you're serious about preparedness, you really need to get past that and go ahead and bite the bullet and proceed to get your ham radio license. That would be wise, don't you think? I think so. Another advantage of the ham radio clubs all around the country, there's hundreds of these ham radio clubs, by the way, is that you can, within the club, high quality ham radio equipment is sold back and forth at very reasonable prices all the time. That alone should bring a lot of value to your consideration of getting involved with a ham radio club. You want to meet people of like mind? Well, join the local ham radio club. You will find people of like mind, as we say. Men and women who understand preparedness, men and women who are working towards being self-sufficient, and so forth. So that's a good thing as well. So there's a number of reasons to get involved in ham radio. There really are. You'll have people that will volunteer to help you do installs, volunteer to help you get antennas up at your home. Of course, you're expected to do the same thing if they need help. Of course you are. That's the nature of any volunteer organization. If and when a crisis comes, it's not a matter of if, of course, it is a matter of when. There's no place on this planet that's not subject to some kind of natural disaster. Floods, tornadoes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and so forth. That place doesn't exist. So, point being, everybody has this need. Everyone has this need. Now, in Northern California, they're having issues with these fires, and I'm sure the ham guys and ham gals are helping out. We're going to bottom the hour break. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
All right, we are back. Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. J.R. Moore here on Friday. It is Friday, 8th day of November. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. Last night at my meetup, I mentioned a transcript at my website, translated transcript of a speech given by the top communist Chinese general to his own men. Not meant for distribution outside China, not even meant for distribution inside China, except for these top military people. It's a free download in PDF format, 20 pages. Pretty scary stuff. They want our country. They want our stuff. They don't want us. They're prepared to murder all of us. A Red Dawn invasion. My friend Dave Hodges, I need to catch up with Dave. Dave's been doing some great reporting on Red Dawn invasion. President Trump's been doing a great job mitigating and doing things that will delay or stop the invasion. So we'll see. That's an excellent transcript, and I think people need to read that. Also, my website, of course, if you have arthritis pain, joint pain, back pain, you want to sleep as good as a small child every night, then you need an energy cleaner. I use mine every night. I'm pretty active around the ranch here, up and down ladders on my knees, doing concrete work and painting, electrical work. I go to bed with minor aches and pains. I wake up pain-free, and you can also. Seriously, you can. You're going to want to get a mattress pad to go with it. Now, think about this. I know there's hundreds of you listening to me who already got your energy cleaner, you got your life back. Is there somebody in your life that needs to get their life back? A sibling? Parent, a child, an adult child. If they'll use the energy cleaner, they have a strong likelihood they will get their life back. They really do. So, check out the energy cleaner at my website. Keep in mind, I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. You're going to want to get an energy cleaner, a mattress pad to go with it. The mattress pads vary in price. We have they have twin size, full, queen, king, California king. You make your purchase using PayPal. Why do I like PayPal so much? Because it's so secure. You're not giving up your credit card information when you use PayPal. Of course, there's MasterCard, Visa. You can send me a check. And toll-free online 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Yeah. Well, this is Friday morning. First hour, we talk about emergency survival communications. I've got a number of different handy talkies. I've got a bunch of them that are used by police and military. I've got a few CB units. I've got some biofangs. Different, and I even got a couple of those little Motorola, what we call blister pack radios. They're sold in the stores in a blister pack. Even got a couple of those. I cannot emphasize how terribly important this is. I got nothing to sell you here. Just offering advice from someone who's been there and done that. The detective agency I was associated with from 1973 until about 1990, I guess it was, 92, somewhere in there. They finally bit the bullet and got two-way radios. These weren't ham radios. These, of course, were commercial radios. And they were wondering after they got them and were using them for 2 or 3 weeks, why in the world did we wait so long to get them in the first place? Why did we do that? It increased our productivity. It increased our base of knowledge. It increased the safety for our operatives out there on the street. It was all just a win-win situation. And the boss, the owner of the company, he was just fascinated. He had a base station right there on his desk, and he would listen when the men were using these radios. He would listen carefully to make sure everything was going okay. So I want all of you to ponder this. Ponder and think about, should I move forward getting a ham radio license? Should I? Well, of course I think you should. It'll put you into a whole new category of people. The people at the ham radio club will know you're serious and not just a tire kicker. That you're serious about getting and doing the things that you want to do. Okay. It doesn't need to be expensive. Most people want to start with a handy talkie. That's the way it is. That's the wrong way to start. What you need to start with is a mobile unit. Now, a mobile unit has tremendously higher power. Even on the low end, you're looking at 45, 50 watts for a mobile unit. These handy talkies, what some people call walkie-talkies, they're prohibited by law from being more than 5 watts. So why is that? Well, here's the reason why. That frequency being generated when you push the talk button on these handy talkies is very close to the microwave frequency. Very close. Close enough that it'll do damage to your brain. That's why they're prohibited from using more than 5 watts. A caller in Holding Red, Jerry in Texas. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, John. There's no morning here, but just a little bit above freezing and mist in the air, but hey, it's Texas. I want to go back. Callers called in earlier about the handy talkies didn't work, and you answered it. I agree with your answer, I guess is the way I'm going to word that. 2 meter, 70 centimeter FM VHF and UHF frequencies are short distance. And so there's a lot of repeaters around in this area, and people become very dependent on those. And, there's 2 or 3 ham clubs in my area that have set up a simplex meetup once a week at a specific time. Mills County's got 8 o'clock Wednesday morning with a simplex frequency. And then Copper Scope's got one Wednesday evening.
That's
American.
Smart. That's smart. That's very
American
smart.
Radio Relay League. Folks, think about that. Radio Relay League. And we do relays. There'll be somebody out in the area that propagation is not good, or they've stretched out and heard about it. They just want to see if they can get into the control, and they can't. But somebody in between will pick up their transmission, and they will relay it. And it's good practice. In time of emergency, every night, I've got my radio set to the 2 meter call frequency is 146.520. That's national call frequency that all ham radio operators should be aware of, because it's set up for emergency communications and what have you. If they're traveling and go to an area and have car troubles or whatever the situation is, just want to talk to somebody, stay awake, they can call that and on that frequency, and somebody will pick them up and they'll go over to another frequency or go to a repeater that works a little better, a little longer. But folks, when you got handy talkies and you're out and about, or even base stations and mobile units, hook up with some of your hams out there and do simplex communications. And kind of like waiting the last minute to learn how to operate your radio if you got your ham license. Work at it and set up a good network so that the grid goes down, and it's happened to me. Here, the repeater that I normally use, the power went out on it. I couldn't communicate till I started the simplexing. Just a little lonely out there when your phone don't work and you're depending on a repeater. It's just like a cell tower. It goes
I know
down.
you and I know what simplex is, but a lot of people are scratching their heads. Well, these two guys talking about it. Tell people what simplex is, Jerry.
Well, simplex is same frequency that you're talking directly to someone else on their radio. One frequency at 146.520 is a call frequency for 2 meter. The repeater will actually work off of 2 different frequencies. One is a receive, and the other one is a transmit. You have to program your radio, if it's programmable, to be able to communicate with that repeater so that you can repeat or communicate with other hams. Is that good enough, John?
That's pretty good. Yeah, it's the Reader's Digest version is direct radio to radio communication without using a repeater.
And that's the gentleman that called in, and evidently he was dependent on a repeater. And a repeater, a frequency, if you've got the repeater frequency, you can transmit, and we can, but they can't receive, or vice versa, because you're dealing again with 2 frequencies. But radio to radio, simplex, simple. KISS, it keeps it simple. But anyway, John, thanks. I just wanted to reiterate that, and don't depend on high tech. That's a whole beauty part about ham radio. You're a standalone if you choose to be.
Absolutely.
But y'all have a good weekend. Stay warm. This is we got a 3-day weekend this week for a lot of people. Veterans Day is Monday, so maybe a lot of people out there traveling. And hunting season. Be safe out there hunting. Make sure you know what you're shooting at before you squeeze the trigger.
Yeah. Well,
thanks, John.
Okay. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate the call. Call number is 800-313-9443. I was coming back from the meetup last night on Missouri Route 19, and I do this time of year. The deers are very active. It's the mating season for the deer, and I was zipping along about 45, maybe approaching 50 miles an hour, and there was a deer standing on the pavement, just standing there. I hit the brakes in time. The deer ran off. But if I'd been going 10 miles an hour faster, I probably would have hit that deer, and that would not have been good. Everybody's got deer stories out here, and people hitting deers is way too common. If I see one run across the road, this is your heads up, ladies and gentlemen, I'm looking for the second and third one to run out behind it, because these deer do travel in 2s and 3s and 4s, and it's just wise to keep a sharp eye out for multiple deer, and this time of year, just for deer in general, because they're so active and they're nocturnal animals and they're out there at night, and they're not terribly smart animals, like pigs. I've never seen or heard of a wild pig being hit by a car or a truck ever. It probably has happened. I'm simply not aware of it. In a crisis situation, if you've got enough people, you're going to have set up what's called a charge of quarters office, a CQ office. The person who's pulling the shift, any given shift, you're probably going to want to do 3 8-hour shifts a day to avoid burnout, assuming you got the people to do that. The person at the charge of quarters, they can be disabled as long as they can talk. They can be very old as long as they can talk. They can be very young as long as they're having a high enough IQ to do the work. So what's doing the work? Well, it's the charge of quarters keeps track of where everybody is so that everybody's findable. Charge of quarters is responsible for issuing an alert if one needs to be alerted. It could be any number of things, a big old cast iron school bell, an air horn, or a siren, whatever. it might be. So it's an important position. And people who are too elderly to get out and do very much physical, it might be a good position for them. Somebody who's disabled, you could be legally blind and do quite well at this because so much information comes in on the radio. So it's an incredibly important situation there, the charge of quarters person. And the charge of quarters office is where you're going to have your base stations for your radio communications locally and your shortwave receiver and so forth. If your internet's still up and running, obviously you could have the internet connection there too. And basically where all your communications, that would be the hub of all your communications. That's what it would be, your charge of quarters office. Very important, not optional. Now, men can do it, women can do it, mature teenagers can do it. No reason why not. I don't know what's coming. I know what the possibilities are. I know that men I've worked with for years. I've been doing radio since 1995. I started interviewing Steve Quayle about 1997, 98, along in there. And the men I know and the men I trust share my concerns. We've all got our own private sources. My concern is that there will be massive civil disorder in a year, almost a year to the day. They may wait until the weekend, but you don't know what they're going to do. The people that do know aren't talking. So, will there be civil disorder in this country followed by civil war? I don't know. Is it possible? Of course it's possible. All the chessboard pieces are being placed on the chessboard to carry this out. Dave Hodges, I mentioned earlier in the show, is one of the men doing a great job documenting this and putting out excellent alerts, both in written form and video. He now has his own little TV studio thing. So, word to the wise is be prudent. You know, even if you got a limited budget, you can pour out 2-liter soda bottles, rinse them out several times with warm soapy water, get all that soap residue out, and you can store up water in 2-liter soda bottles. That's the kind of plastic that does not deteriorate, at least if it's kept in the shade. You're going to get rice and beans. You will. Here's our bottom of the hour break. We'll be right back.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Friday the 8th of November. Got just a few minutes left before the top of the hour. We're expecting Dr. Lynn Wilbert to join us. I mentioned earlier I take an hour a week. Tom Berryhill devotes an hour of his week, most weeks with us. I know he's really busy this morning. An hour a week to help people understand how terribly important it is to become competent in the use of radios. You become competent by studying for and getting your ham radio license. That's how it's done. And you can deny that, you can question it, you can do whatever you want. That's how it's done. And the consequences of not doing that could be quite disastrous, quite frankly. They really could. And when I use the term a matter of life and death, I am being quite serious. It's not a flippant comment. It really is, and could be a matter of life and death. Of course it could. So you listen to us every week, and you either move forward to accomplish this goal, or you don't. I don't have an emotional attachment to the outcome of this. I don't have an emotional attachment to what you folks do or do not do. That's your choice. I respect it. No, my job is to inform you and educate you and let you know how important it is, how you need to move forward and get this done, get the equipment, learn how it works, and, of course, also do the same thing with encouraging friends and family you want to talk to so they have the same level of competence. And they have compatible equipment, and you can actually talk to each other. That would be a very wise thing, don't you think? I think so. So just do it, right? Just do it. Was that the Nike commercial? Just do it. We may have a year. It's just slightly less than a year before the election. A year from this past Tuesday will be Election Day 2020. You can do a lot in a year if you put your mind to it. You set some reasonable goals that can be accomplished, and this is one of them. Studying for your ham radio license and getting it and getting the equipment within this period of time, it's reasonable, it's doable. Of course it is. Now, this year, it will fly by. Last night at the meetup, I mentioned how I'd been gone for a year and a half, taking care of my wife, and look how fast that went. It went incredibly fast. So, time's a wasting. Some of my rancher friends will say, we're burning daylight, when I get out and on the ranch and repair a fence and take care of the cattle and so forth. Here's our top of the hour break. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. Jared Moore here on Friday, the 8th day of November. Prepper tip of the day is to be sure and check your car kit, or kits plural if you've got more than one vehicle. Make sure it's got the things you need for the region you live in. If you're in Mississippi, it's going to be one set of items. If you're in Minnesota, it's going to be different, obviously. Of course it will. Make sure everything's there. Things tend to get lost and misplaced and borrowed. We have a patient waiting in the green room, my friend, Dr. Lynn Wilbert. Dr. Wilbert is a gentleman who began a quest more than 2 decades ago to become quite knowledgeable in anything and everything to do with human health, nutrition, well-being, the human, the human situation that we all live in, I guess you could say. If you want to become a client of Dr. Wilbert, he does have a telephone number, and that's 314-495-6480. Good morning, Doctor.
Greetings, J.R. Moore. Such a pleasure to be here.
Good to have you, sir. I want to ask you some questions and get some responses. When you have a new client,
as long as you don't stump me.
Well, I don't think it's going to be all that difficult. But would it be a fair statement, Doctor, that many new clients, when they come in, they have self-diagnosed and self-prescribed various supplements that they take? Does that happen a lot?
Well, it's happening even more, John. the current climate today is most people, and there's segments of the population that is not included, like these young teens that carrying extra baggage. But the ones in their late 20s and 30s, they're looking more toward wellness and longevity of life, and they don't want to go down the road that their parents did with medicines. Right. And one of the things that people never ask or rarely ask is when they show up at the medical doctor, and the medical doctor says, "Oh, we checked your blood pressure and it's elevated." Now, two things. One, you should be sitting in a quiet, peaceful place for an hour before checking blood pressure. Two, you need an average of blood pressures before you prescribe medication. And the question that's rarely, if ever, asked is, "Well, doctor, my last checkup, I didn't need blood pressure medication. Why do I need it now?" Well, the obvious reason is you stop making blood pressure regulating drugs. Now, the next obvious question, the next logical question is, why did I stop making the blood pressure medicating drugs? And so once you buy the program of medicine, I don't know what drama school they go to, what acting school they go to, but they are able to convince most people, now that you're starting taking this medication, you have to take it for the rest of your life. Oh, really? Okay. 5 years later, instead of taking one pill, you're taking two. 10 years later, instead of taking 2 pills, you're taking 3 or 4. A couple of decades later, you're taking 5 or 6. The average 65-year-old is taking anywhere from 6 to 8 pills a day. And so, in my mind, if the medication worked, then you take it for a year or two, and then you wouldn't have to take it, and the blood pressure is back to normal. That rarely happens unless you change your lifestyle. Most medical doctors do not counsel you on lifestyle modification, which is where my specialty is. And so one of the things that's happening now, and is different in Europe, in order to get vitamins and minerals, is what they call them, vitamins and minerals, you must have a prescription. And the last time I checked, the most prescribed herb is ginkgo biloba in Europe. However, that's a different healthcare structure. The government pays for any doctor you want to go to, and most of it is physical medicine. And so now what we have is you can walk into a gas station, Walmart, Walgreens, and you'll see a plethora. You see so many kinds of vitamins and minerals, and people are thinking, well, maybe I should take vitamins and minerals.
Right,
well,
right.
That's a good idea, and that's what people are doing.
It's a good start, but well, initially, they're self-diagnosing and are self-prescribing, and that they may self-diagnose properly. They may self-prescribe properly. It's hit or miss. That's a bit some unknowns there. But then, if they get to that point, are they taking the right thing? Are they taking it the right amounts? That's where your expertise comes in, doctor, whether they need it or not, and if they do need it, how much to take and when.
Yes, absolutely. And see, there are ways that you can determine how much you need, but clients' mind, I teach them how to determine that. But therein lies the problem. You don't know if you need vitamin C or vitamin B or E or D. And here's a situation I want to describe. Most people are taking vitamin D. A lot of people are taking vitamin D today. And I asked one of my mentors, I say, have you noticed that more and more people are being prescribed vitamin D? And he says, you know what? I've noticed that. What do you think about it? Well, I haven't really thought about it. Well, I have. And I shared with him why people are taking vitamin D. See, vitamin D is a vitamin that your body makes from sunshine. The liver and the kidney gets together, and they make vitamin D. in order for vitamin D to be made by the body, most vitamins you have to consume, and all minerals you have to consume. The body does not make minerals. You have to ingest minerals, which are the raw materials for healing. And so what happens is, in order for you to manufacture vitamin D, you need calcium and phosphorus. You need 10 parts of calcium and 4 parts of phosphorus in order to convert to vitamin D. So here's what happens. When your food intake, I never call it a diet. The first syllable in diet is diet. Nobody wants to diet. In fact, the best way to trim to your healthiest size is to eat like you did when you were a youngster, because it turns your metabolism back on and you start to burn the calories that you put in. So let's say your diet is void of green leafy vegetables. That's where you get sodium, organic sodium. Green leafy vegetables come from, they provide organic sodium and other minerals, but organic sodium is the most important because that is the preferred Rolls Royce mineral that the body uses to buffer or neutralize the acid that we make from living, not to mention the acid that we create from thinking or any of that. And so now you've run out of sodium. Well, I mentioned in previous conversations that the pH of the blood, this is very important. It stays 7.35 to 7.45. That's slightly alkaline, 1/10 range. It never varies. If it goes above or below the 7.35 or 7.45, you only have moments left to live. The only other mineral that the body uses to buffer the acid to keep you from becoming acidotic or creating acidosis condition is calcium. So when you run out of sodium, you're not eating enough green leafy vegetables, the next thing is calcium. And so the problem with that is, the challenge with that is, you need a whole lot of calcium for just one sodium. So now the body starts pulling calcium from the muscles. You get Charlie horses. It starts depositing calcium into the rib cage because it knows it's going to need some calcium down the road. And now it alters the ratio of calcium to phosphorus. So instead of having 10 parts of calcium, now you have 9 or 8. If you don't have 10, you can't make vitamin D. Vitamin D is important. So now you got to take vitamin D. So there we have a dilemma of people taking vitamin D when it's really not necessary. And my mentor looked at me, he says, well, let me know how that works for you. See, my practice is an observatory. I don't practice anymore. I observe the body's perfect response to whatever you do to it. There's nothing wrong. Never. In fact, I counsel my clients, the first step to massive healing is to realize there's nothing wrong with you. But doctor, what's wrong with my knee? Let me start over. Design of the human being was perfect. There was never a recall like Toyota and Ford and all those car manufacturers. Our creator did not recall the human being and improve on the design of the human being. And contrary to popular opinion and belief, Charles Darwin, on his deathbed, his last few words, he says, the concepts of evolution are not true. Not true. I have a degree in biology, and one of the tenets in biology is life begots life. And so fish don't have birds. Fish cannot procreate into a bird. And so the original human pair, down to you and I and whoever else is born today, the design of the human is perfect. See, when we separated from our mother, that's what it's called. That's what I call it. I call it the separation day, not the birthday. Because if it was a birthday, you popped out one cell big. No, you popped out an entire human. 10 fingers, 10 toes, 9 openings in your body, and you knew how to breathe when you popped out. When you were in your mother's belly, she was breathing for you. She was digesting for you, and she was handling all of the waste that you eliminated. But as soon as you popped out, all of those systems were operating on their own. All they needed for you to do is to keep feeding them so they could grow, keep them comfortable, and love them, and then teach them how to stay happy for the rest of their life. But we, somewhere along the way, John, we lose that ability to choose to be happy. Happy, what's that? All of my grandchildren, well, 8 and above, I have 1, 2, 3. I have 4 that's under 8, so they haven't quite grasped the concept yet. But the 3 that's 8 and above, they all know which is better, happy or sad. Oh, happy, Papa. Sad is bad. So when you look at your face and you can tell that you're sad, snap back instantly to happy. You've heard this before. Muscles have memory. Well, they do. Muscles have memory, and your facial muscles really have memory. If you're frowning, you're accessing a memory that wasn't so pleasant for you. It takes less muscles to smile than it does to frown. Yes, it does. And those frowning muscles, those 2 goalposts in between your eyebrows, we call them 11s, yeah, they become permanent after a while because you're wrinkling your brow. No, look in the mirror and see what it feels like to smile. If you have difficulty smiling, look up at the sky. You will smile looking up at the sky. And so happy. In fact, I think she's probably 3. She inspired me to write another book. Why am I so happy? Why am I so happy? And it'll be a somewhat children's version book where the parents can read to their children how to stay happy. And happy, your cells are happy when you're happy. You're healing when you're happy. If you're in an emotional, upset state, there's no healing going on. No healing. You're just barely surviving. I speak to my seniors, and when they say I am sick, I say, change that. I am sick, change that. The 2 most powerful words ever spoken. I am. Your subconscious does not know, cannot, is incapable of thinking, judging, or reasoning. Your conscious mind does that. Your subconscious can't. So your subconscious will accept whatever you tell it. In other words, you can't lie to yourself. Your subconscious will, on the command, I am, there's a trap door between the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. And when you say I am, the trap door to the subconscious opens up. And whatever follows the I am statement, your subconscious believes, acts on, and brings to fruition instantly, even though there may be a time lag. Remember, the subconscious doesn't know linear time the way we count. Today is the 8th, tomorrow's the 9th. No. Your subconscious doesn't know that. From the moment that you were created as an energy being, your subconscious was full grown. Your subconscious now is in charge of your survival system, your healing system. It does not know what condition you think you have. It only has one task, survival of the organism, no matter what. And so when you toss things at it like less than positive emotions, did you know humans weren't supposed to have a less than positive emotion?
I didn't know that.
We weren't supposed to. We don't have a system designed to handle the toxicity, the acid associated with a less than positive thought. And so what happens is, as we, get past 2 years old, where the conscious mind is fully developed, at 2, that's the smartest human person on the planet is a 2-year-old, and then they start to grow and learn based on what they've learned up to this point. Now, the infant, up until 2 years old, the infant, what whatever they feel or see or feel, they interpret it as truth. That's why the first 2 years of life, be careful who your children associate with. Always be in a happy, positive mood when you're around your infant. They'll pick up on that vibe. They don't even know what happy is. All babies love me. All babies love me. I mean, I haven't found one that didn't.
Hold that thought, Doctor. Hold that thought. We got a caller on hold. We'll be right back. All right, we're back, ladies and gentlemen. J.R. Moore here on Friday, the 8th of November. I'll be in the Caribbean the second week of February. Where are you going to be? We have some cabins left. When they're gone, they're gone. If you want to go on a Caribbean cruise with us, contact Betsy Murphy, our cruise director, at 636-530-9502. Visiting with Dr. Lynn Wilbert. If you want to become a client of Dr. Wilbert, here's his telephone, 314-495-6480. Doctor, we got a caller on hold here. We got Elizabeth in New York. Good morning, Elizabeth.
Hi. Good morning, John. Good morning, Dr. Wilbert. The reason why I'm calling is I wanted to find out if you might have any information on two different conditions that I've been diagnosed with. I have neurocardiogenic syncope and Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility syndrome. I have venous insufficiency. I can be as positive as I want, but with different physical anomalies that I have working against me, how can I overcome this, doctor?
Doctor, are you there? Dr. Wilbert.
I was on mute, yeah. Elizabeth, what was the first condition you mentioned? Neuropathic, what?
Neurocardiogenic syncope. I have orthostatic intolerance, venous insufficiency, and then I also have Ehlers-Danlos hypermobility syndrome.
You have hypermobility?
What?
What was that last one? Hypermobility?
Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. It's a connective tissue disorder. I'm hypermobile, and I can easily get certain parts of my body out of joint. I have one of my ribs that's slightly subluxed.
Ah. Wow. And how long have you been diagnosed with these conditions?
The last couple of years. I probably have had the scoliosis all along and never knew it. I have dextroscoliosis, and I've got degenerative changes in my back and in my neck.
Okay. Are you in your fifth decade, between 50 and 60?
I'm in my sixth.
Pardon me?
I'm in my sixth.
Her sixth decade. She's in her 60s, doctor.
Right. Okay. Well, that'd be a seventh decade. Because you have to count that first decade from 0 to 10.
That's right. 0 to 10 is the first decade. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm in my seventh then. I don't think in decades.
That's the first one you said, neurogenic. Tell me it again. I'm writing it down.
Neurocardiogenic syncope. What it is, see, because of the venous insufficiency, there's times that I don't get enough blood going to the upper part of my body. And with my veins, I have 3 different venous systems that are refluxing, which isn't helping either. And I'm concerned, I would almost like to get, I don't know if there's some kind of repair that they could do on my veins to improve the blood going back up to my head, because I sure would love to get my freedom back.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much housebound.
Well, let's start with the first one, neurocardiogenic syncope. Syncope is the pulsating rhythm of your heart. And your heart is the most important organ in your body. And so your body will do anything to support the heart. When you say it's neurogenic or neurocardiogenic, that's not true. That's not true. The heart doesn't tell itself to speed up or slow down. The heart doesn't regulate its rhythm. It has 3 distinct electrical systems that the rhythm is automatic. I can take your heart out of your chest, put it in a petri dish, and it'll beat by itself. The heart has a system that controls its rhythmic syncope, its rhythmic synchronicity. If
Dr. Wilbert?
Yes, I'm here.
I went to Dr. Grubb out in Toledo, Ohio, and he said that he has discovered that it has something to do with the mechanoreceptors of the heart. This is who I went to. He's one of the lead doctors on the syndrome. I don't know if you've heard that anything. If you know anything about mechanoreceptors.
I know everything about mechanoreceptors.
Oh, good.
I know it. The mechanical receptors, they don't tell themselves what to do. They respond to a signal that comes from the adrenals or the thyroid. The adrenal gland regulates the rhythm of the heart, and so does the thyroid. The thyroid does it more than the adrenals. So every time you get emotionally upset, your heart goes boom, 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 boom. That's adrenals. That's adrenaline. And so if it's cardiogenic, that means that you may have a congenital heart condition, but I don't know. I don't know that. That's an assumption on my part.
Hold that thought.
Well, I'm
hold
glad.
that thought, Doctor. We have a break. We have a break. We'll be right back. We have another caller on hold. We'll be right back.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
Tired of being lied to by mass media? It's growing more and more apparent today that news is received less and less through standard media outlets. Even with a growing audience every day, RBN is beginning to direct more efforts into social media. Social media and the use of the internet is fast becoming the primary source of people for news, regardless of demographic. RBN has set out to provide some of the best news on the internet through republicbroadcasting.org, and also has begun to use the tools to our advantage by way of social media. Republic Broadcasting is now operating a Facebook page to function as yet another avenue to have our collective voice reach new audiences across not only America, but across the globe as well. The Facebook page features not only news, but also an RBN player to listen to our broadcasts. Get involved by visiting facebook.com/Republic Broadcasting and liking our page and share it with your friends and family, because you can handle the truth.
All right, we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We're back. J.R. Moore here on Friday, the 8th of November. My website is thelibertyman.com. That's thelibertyman.com. Got a huge Ozark cave listed for sale at my website. You could build a couple of houses inside this thing. It is massive. Very unusual, to say the least. Also, my website, if you've got arthritis pain, you're wondering what to do about it, well, the energy cleaner will help. If it doesn't, keep in mind I offer a 90-day money-back guarantee. That's what I do from me to you personally. You heard Steve Whitman yesterday. If you didn't, first hour yesterday, Steve Whitman told his story. We try to get him on about 3 times a year to tell his story about how the energy cleaner saved his life and how he recovered so quickly from being shot 3 times with a pistol, 45 caliber pistol. Rapid recovery, rapid to the point where the doctor could hardly believe her eyes. $285 shipping included. The mattress pads that go with it, they're vary in price. twin size, full, queen, king. What a great gift. You already have your energy cleaner. You got your life back. You probably know somebody that has arthritis pain. You probably know somebody that's not getting a great night's sleep. What a great gift for them, an energy cleaner and a mattress pad. You can place your order right there at my website using PayPal, MasterCard, Visa. You can call my toll-free order line 24 hours a day. Here it is, 800-592-9543. I say again, 800-592-9543. Visiting with Dr. Lynn Wilbert. If you want a private consultation, don't want to talk about your personal medical concerns in front of 10,000 people, well, give Dr. Wilbert a call. He'd be glad to talk to you and get you going. 314-495-6480. We're doing a consultation with Elizabeth here, and Doctor, I believe you were responding when the break started.
Yes. Again, Elizabeth, the first step to healing is to recognize that your system is designed to respond to the stimulus of lifestyle perfectly. It responds perfectly. So in order to get a different response, we have to do something differently. So first of all, you can say what you have, but it's merely a fancy description of your body responding perfectly to the stresses that you've had in life. Now, you're probably a chest breather as well. I want you to focus on, take 3 minutes, probably 4 or 5 times a day when you think about it, because most of the time your shoulders are holding hands with your ears, and when that happens, you're stressing. You're stressing, and so realize that if you've survived any experience that you've had in your life, even the most stressful one, the one where they took your heart out, threw it on the ground, stomped on it, and pummeled it and gave it back to you in that distressed condition, that one, you survived it, so you learned. You learned. If it didn't kill you, it made you stronger. Second is assign learning to every experience that you've had. Learning. And then be thankful and grateful for your body's perfect function. That's something you say every day. I am thankful for my body's perfect function. I'm working on it functioning more perfect, or perfecter, or whatever the word is. So remember to breathe. If your shoulders are holding hands with your ears, you want to lower your shoulders. Focus on the moment. That is the most important moment. Yeah, the one that just went by, most important moment. And if you're feeling distressed about anything, see, stress causes pressure. And when you combine the two, you have stressor. And the body knows how to deal with stress and pressure, but we weren't supposed to have it. Nature knows what to do with pressure. You turn a mountain into coal, and then pretty soon it becomes a diamond. Well, that's eons of pressure. They know what to do with it. But we as human beings, Elizabeth, I want you to be thankful that you're still here. I want you to be grateful that there's hope for you. There's hope for you. See, I detect just a little bit of hopelessness in your voice. Never give up hope. I don't know who the doctor you went to see in Toledo, but my response to that, the mechanoreceptors are only responding to the electrical signal of the nerve system. So in my work, what I do is I reprogram the nerve system. In other words, if you're working on a computer and you're using Windows 95, oh my goodness, you have no software support. And so in my work, I get your system, remember I said system, your nerve system, your circulatory system, your venous system, your blood system, we get it retimed, and then you are connected directly to source energy. And now you're operating on the latest biotechnical program available to humankind. See, your computer is stuck, and you keep feeding it information that keeps it stuck. I am not sick. I'm surviving. I want you to look into the mirror and look into your left eye and breathe. I'm not sick. I am surviving. My heart is the most important organ that I have. And my body does everything it does, it is for the survival of the heart, nothing else. So any itis, any syncope, any of those fancy words, throw them out the window. You say, what can I do now to help my body? What can I do now to help me heal? You spend more time in emergencies than you do healing. Now, scoliosis can be a congenital condition. Then again, it could be a functional condition. And what I mean by congenital, do you have all of your vertebrae, and are they cold? Or is some of the one or two of them half, or is that what's creating the scoliosis, or are your vertebrae intact? Have you seen the x-ray of your spine?
Yes, it's pretty much S-shaped, but I have degenerative changes, and I have some slippage of certain discs. The other thing is it was interesting that you mentioned the thyroid controlling the mechanoreceptors, because I have antibodies that are attacking my thyroid.
You did what to the thyroid?
I have Hashimoto's. I have antibodies attacking my thyroid.
Oh, so why are they doing that? Because your system is confused. Antibodies don't just attack the thyroid for no reason. They're confused. So you say antibodies?
I attribute it to the vaccines. I think I contracted this autoimmune disorder through the vaccines years ago when I didn't know that they were bad. I'm fully aware that none of them are safe anymore.
Yes, that.
But you know, it's a little too late.
Yes, that would be true. However, it's never too late. Never too late. So just that minding procedure. Breathe. Remember to breathe, because you're not only are you a shallow breather, you have to tell yourself to breathe. So if you're not putting in oxygen in your body, then you don't have enough oxygen to go around to get to your brain. So your brain, average brain, weighs about 7-8 pounds on average, unless you have a huge head. The brain uses 20% of the oxygen that you breathe in. 20%, but it only weighs about 8 pounds. Now, if we do simple math, just say you're a 200-pound person, and the brain uses 20% of the oxygen it takes in, that means your brain should weigh about 40 pounds. Let's hope it doesn't, else you wouldn't be able to walk. You need a wheelbarrow just to keep your head up. And so, with that being said, we must focus on belly breathing, intentional breathing, rhythmic breathing. Breathe in for 3 or 4, hold it for 3 or 4, breathe out 3 or 4. And then that is a conscious, and you send red blood cells and you send oxygen to every cell in your body with your mind. Your mind is playing a big role in your health. All those words that you got antibodies attacking your thyroid, no, I'll have nightmares about that. No, I won't. I'm just kidding. But you have to ask the logical question. Why would my antibodies, who supposed to be attacking foreign things, antigens that enter my body, why is it attacking my thyroid? Because it's confused. Now, I can tell you this. You have a core liver issue as well. All white blood cells, antibodies, red blood cells, the liver's got over 560 some odd things to do. And one of them is to keep the acid level of the blood acceptable for life. Now, when the acid level gets out of range, you have things like itises and hypermobility. You have joints that move more than what they should. Well, that's because you're starting to affect the connective tissue. You mentioned that. You're starting to affect the connective tissue in your body. And so how do you reverse that? Well, you start moving start moving. Walking is an excellent exercise. And while you're walking, you'll say things like, why am I so thankful for my perfect health? Now, it sounds like foo-foo stuff going on, but you're saying the opposite now. You're saying the opposite. You're saying, why is the foot of it? Why is my antibody? Oh, you want to know why your antibodies attacking your thyroid? Well, let me show you. It's going to do it again. The question is, why is my body responding perfectly to the stimulus that I give it? And the number one stimulus is your mental attitude. It's your minding. I want you to think about what you're thinking about while you're thinking about it. And if it doesn't make you feel good, you instantly change the thought to a feel-good thought. And it doesn't matter. Remember I said your subconscious cannot determine whether or not you're telling the truth or not. Why am I so happy today? And the universe will say, oh, you want to know why you're so happy? And before you know it, off the coast of Africa, it's not even on your radar. A happy experience will come into your life. And you go, oh, that's why I'm happy. Or you can say, man, why am I so upset and stressed out today? And the universe says, oh, you want to know why? Here comes another upset, stressed out experience for you. See, we are co-creators. We are co-creators of our life. We can create what we would love to have happen if we focus more on the way we would love for it to be as opposed to the way it is. Here's the way it is, switch. Here's the way I would love for it to be. Here's the way it is, switch. Here's the way I would love for it to be. And at the end of the day, you have a net, here's the way it is, and a net, here's the way I love for it to be, and they will cancel each other out. And your last thought, why am I so thankful? My life is the way I would love for it to be. And then you go to sleep. See, movement is tied into emotion. Movement is tied into emotion. If you're not moving, your emotions are going to start sinking. You're not going to feel that good about anything, let alone yourself. You're not going to feel good at all. So when you start to feel that way, get up and take a short walk and be thankful that you can see the trees. Be thankful the planet is still here. Be thankful you're still alive. Be thankful that you lived through every experience. And if you assign learning to those experiences, then you won't have random recall of those experiences that you wish you had skipped over. You often have random recall of past tense experiences that you wish you had skipped through. Why did that experience show up on your forehead in this moment? Because it's asking to be reassigned to the learning pile. I don't know what I learned from that experience, but I know I learned. How do you know you learned? You lived through it. I learned a long time ago. My grandmother actually was say, son, if it don't kill you, it makes you stronger. Excuse me? Well, it's always been true. If it don't kill you, it makes you stronger if we assign learning to the experience. You don't have to ascertain at the moment what you learn. You just have to know that you learn. You have to not only believe that your body's working perfectly, but know that it's working perfectly. In order for you to get a more perfect response, breathe, acknowledge, accept, and appreciate your body for what it's doing. Don't ever tell your body is doing anything wrong ever again, because it's not. That's a perception. That's a hill of beans that we bought. If you think your body can do something wrong, have another thunk. And then here's a really positive thing, Elizabeth. Whatever it is you have, whatever condition you think you have, whatever condition you've been told that you have, is instead of a heart attack. Let me say that again. Whatever condition that you've developed, whatever condition you think you've developed, is instead of a heart attack. And heart attack is still the number one reason why people die in this country. So you be thankful your heart, even though sometimes it'll skip a beat or sometimes it'll speed up and slow down. You say, okay, heart, let me focus on you, and I'm going to breathe. I'm going to get oxygen in, and be sure that you are drinking half your body weight in ounces of water. That's the rule. That's the general rule. It's 8-ounce glass. That's nonsense. That doesn't work now. See, in today's society, the air that we breathe in is only about 21% oxygen, and it used to be as high as 30 at one time, but it's 21% now. I just saw the figures. It's less oxygen. You need less oxygen? No. Focus on breath, H2O, water, oxygen. You get oxygen from drinking water. I would I would get more green leafy vegetables. An excellent thing to do is stretching. Stretching. I know most people kind of frown at yoga, but yoga is merely, and it's been around for centuries, yoga is merely moving your body, thinking positive thoughts in the moment, and being appreciative for the fact that you can move. Remember I said movement is tied into emotions, and emotions are controlled by your limbic system, not limbo system, limbic system. It's in the middle of your brain. It controls all your attitudes and beliefs and opinions about every experience you've ever had. And it stores it in vertical time, not linear time. Vertical. So everything that you've experienced, everything you believe, everything you think you know, it's stored in the limbic system. And movement...
We have our last break. We got another call we want to try to get a few minutes in with, Doc.
Alrighty.
Elizabeth, you can call Doc and privately and get more details.
No problem. Thank you so much, Dr. Wilbur.
We'll be back after the break.
I'd be happy.
All right, we are back. Doctor, here's our last caller. We have Warren in Montana. Good morning, Warren.
Hello?
You're on the air. Go ahead, sir.
Yes, sir. Got a couple of questions and a success story. I heard on another talk show that these multivitamins are chemicals and you're better off not taking them. What do you think about that? There's a lot of products out there, but...
That's exactly true. Most of the vitamins that are available commercially are synthesized. They don't come from whole food. The products that I recommend are made from food that's cold or low heat processed, and then food in the body. I take whole food supplements on a daily basis. Our food today has been compromised, GMO modified. It's just not as good as it was, say, 50 years ago. And with that being said, you still need raw materials to heal. And so be careful why you don't buy vitamins and minerals from Walmart or Costco or wherever. You get reputable whole food supplements from companies that's been making it for a long time. But I highly recommend that.
Okay. Another thing, I had high blood pressure, and over several years, I had to get more medicine. It got changed 4 times. And I'm like, then what happened is I started making biodiesel. And when you make refined biodiesel out of waste vegetable oil, you will never touch a donut or French fry ever again. I quit all that stuff, and my blood pressure... it went down to my first prescription within the first week, and then now I'm off that. But that hydrogenated oil, just changing my diet took care of that.
There you go.
So, like I said, when you refine that oil, you'll never eat a French fry or donut again. It works good in my Dodge Cummins diesel for fuel, but not in my body.
That's good information, Warren. That was your wake-up call, wasn't it?
Yes. So
yeah, that hydrogenated and partially hydrogenated stuff, it will take you out. It used to be said, what you don't know can't hurt you. It's never been true. What you don't know can kill you slow or fast. And most of the people in this country, that's what's going on. It's genocide by the diet they recommend for us. Have you seen a fruit commercial on TV lately? No.
No.
More drug commercials than anything. So we're slowly being branded to think that drugs is a common practice. No, it's uncommon. See, the medical community, they say that natural healers, chiropractors, massage therapists, they say that's alternative medicine. No, it's not. Medicine is alternative medicine. Medicine didn't come on the scene until the late 1890s. Yoga, massage movement has been around since man has been around. So we're not.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. We're out of time. Right. Warren, thank you for the call.
Thanks, Warren.
Yes,
it is a good problem.
Yes.
Okay, that's it for the day. It's it for the week. Get your medical supplies, your energy cleaning, essential oils now while you can, your firearms, ammunition. Never, ever give up your guns. Please do a fun, safe, productive day and weekend